I'm going to call the Tuesday, May 5th, 2026 meeting to order at 7 p.m. I want to say good evening and welcome to tonight's council meeting. As the mayor, the presiding officer, my role under our charter and rules of procedures and Robert's Rules of Order is to ensure the orderly processing of business and maintain decorum so that all of our participants, our council staff, and the public can be heard respectfully and fairly. To that end, note the following requirements which apply equally to council members and the public. All comments must be directed through the mayor, who's the chair and presiding officer of the meeting. No comments should be directed to an individual member, a staff member, or member of the public. Whispering, crosstalk, all remarks must be audible to the room and part of the official record. Electronic devices should be silenced. Texting, emailing, or messages related to public business during the meeting may be subject to FOIA and should be avoided. No one may speak while another person has the floor. Interruptions will be ruled out of order. Council members will be recognized by the chair before speaking. Council members may speak up to 2 times on any item with a combined total time of no more than 10 minutes. Members of the public are allotted 3 minutes to speak during the citizen comment time or public hearings unless otherwise changed by majority vote of the council prior to the meeting. Bless you. During citizen comment, council members will not respond directly to you. Responses, clarifications, or any follow-up remarks may be offered later during a designated council comment time. Any member ruled out of order must yield the floor immediately unless the ruling is appealed to the council in accordance with Robert's rules. Clapping, yelling, and other outbursts are not permitted unless invited. Disruptive behavior may result in removal from the meeting and, if necessary, exclusion from the remainder of the session. Speakers who exceed the allotted time or violate decorum may have their microphone silenced. Council direction to staff is given collectively through the manager. Political commentary or attempts to draw staff into political matters are not appropriate. Staff are expected to remain neutral and professional. These rules are designed to protect the rights of all participants, ensure compliance with the law, and keep our meetings efficient, respectful, and proactive. Thank you for your cooperation. Madam Clerk, please call for the attendance.
Councilman Fields.
Here.
Councilman Peete.
Here.
Councilman Young.
Here.
Councilwoman Peterson. Present. Chair Pro Tem Miles. Present. Vice Mayor Nickerson. Here. Mayor Wood.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we will have our opening prayer invocation. We'll ask Reverend Fields to come up and open us up in prayer.
First, we say good evening to all of those that are present and to the mayor, vice mayor, and the board. Thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to come to address you all tonight. You may not know, but this is Military Recognition Month, and majority of us here are military or ex-military, and God has blessed us to be here. And my wife wanted to come, but she couldn't make it, and I have other obligation at the end of the this week, death in the family and everything. So my friend and I, Brother Golson, we got to make a quick turnaround and get back to Church Road, Virginia. Let us bow our heads. Eternal God, our Father, we do thank you for this meeting tonight, and as we've come, Lord, and we ask, oh Lord, that you would just continue to bless us in this meeting. But another purpose that we're here was called Bless the Bikers, oh Lord, that rides throughout this riding season. And Father God, we prayed, oh God, that each one would have a safe trip wherever they may go. wherever they venture to. And Lord, not only them, but take care of the people on the highway that we come in contact with that sometimes does not recognize the rules of the road when it comes to bikers, oh Lord. We ask you to give them traveling mercy as well, that they recognize us while we're on the highway, and we do likewise. Now, Father God, whatever is taking place in this meeting tonight. We ask that you throw your blessing upon it, oh Lord. And as the mayor has said, Lord, may we govern ourselves according to the rules and regulations of this meeting. And then, Father God, as we get ready later on to depart from this place, give us traveling mercy back to our home where we will we'll go back safely down the road, oh God. Now, Father God, in Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Ask that you all now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is the adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt the agenda for today.
Before you do that, we want to make 2 changes to the agenda. So,
I withdraw that adoption.
all right, so we need to remove the closed session and then add the presentation for the Route 1 234 presentation. So the presentation will be letter D under presentations after the Quantico Creek Phase 2 presentation. C. Okay. Okay. Any other additions or changes to the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll now welcome your motion.
Mr. Mayor, with the amendments to the agenda, I ask that we move on adopting an agenda for this evening.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilman Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Peak,
Yes.
Councilman Young,
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson. Aye. Chair Pro Tem Miles. Aye. Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion's passed.
All right, next on the agenda is a proclamation recognizing May 3rd through May 9th as annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week here in the town of Dumfries. Whereas that office is a time-honored and vital part of local government, and it exists throughout the world. The office of Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants. Professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal services to all. They serve as the information center on functions of local government and community. They provide professional links between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and the agencies of government at other levels. Professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in educational programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is the most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishment of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Dumfries do hereby proclaim May 3rd through May 9th as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and we further extend our appreciation to our Professional Municipal Clerk, Nakisha D. Lucas, and Deputy Clerk Cheryl Santos, and to all professional municipal clerks for their vital services they perform and the exemplary dedication to the community they represent. Signed, 5th day of May, by order of the council, Mayor Derek R. Wood. You all can clap for them.
Have to squeeze in just a tad more.
I don't think everybody showered today.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
That's all right.
Yeah, pass that down to Brian. Let him read that. Oh, he already got one to read. Yeah, tell him to read that.
Change things up, all right. So Pops can get out of here. Motorcycle Awareness Month. Whereas Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month is observed each May to emphasize rider protection, defensive driving, and shared responsibility of all roadway users and reducing crashes, injuries, and fatalities. And whereas motorcyclists are particularly vulnerable on the road, requiring heightened awareness, caution, and cooperation from all motorists. And whereas the town of Dumfries is committed to promoting roadway safety and encourages all drivers to retain alert, obey traffic laws, avoid distractions, and ensure sober operation of vehicles. And whereas Motorcycle Awareness Month promotes essential safety practices for riders, including wearing proper protective gear, increasing visibility, using defensive riding techniques such as see, search, evaluate, execute, and conducting routine pre-ride inspections. And whereas motorcycles continue to be a popular and efficient mode of transportation and recreation, and fostering a culture of safety and shared road use benefits the entire community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Town Council of Dumfries, Virginia, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Motorcycle Awareness Month and urges all residents to promote safety, remain vigilant, and work together to reduce motorcycle-related crashes and injuries on our roadways. In witness thereof, I hereunto my hand and cause the seal of the town of Dumfries affixed this day, May 5th, 2026, by the order of the Dumfries Town Council and Mayor Derek Wood. Oh, Danny. Y'all come up, please. Oh, you want us to come up? Yeah. Anybody else coming up? Thanks for coming. Okay, thank you. It looks like the other group left, but we'll make sure they get a copy. All right.
We got probably turn a little bit sideways. There we go. Let's go ahead, tighter.
Here we go.
There we go.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. All right, man. We got to pull up now.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, be safe. We got to go now. Okay. Thank you.
I'm out here too.
All right.
All right, next is a proclamation recognizing Mrs. Connie Dutton.
Thank you. Before I read the proclamation, I want to take a moment to say just a couple of words. In recognition of Public Service Recognition Week, it's especially meaningful to honor someone like Ms. Connie Dutton, whose life reflects what service truly looks like. 41 years of federal service and decades as an election officer is not just a commitment, it is a calling. And on a personal note, Ms. Dutton is also one of my up the hill neighbors, which makes this moment even more special for me. I've had the opportunity to see her not just in service, but as a steady, familiar presence in our community. Thank you very much for your integrity, dedication, and the example that you've set for all of us. And now I will read the proclamation. Whereas Ms. Connie Dutton has been a proud resident of the town of Dumfries for 36 years, contributing to the strength and fabric of our community. And whereas Ms. Dutton honorably served the federal government for 41 years, retiring in 2025 after a distinguished career defined by dedication and public service. And whereas for nearly 30 years, Ms. Dutton faithfully served as an election officer, standing on the front lines of our democratic process and ensuring that every eligible voter has the opportunity to be heard. And whereas election officers dedicate their time, talent, and integrity to maintaining order in polling locations, assisting voters, including those with disabilities, processing ballots, and ensuring that every vote is handled with accuracy, care, and respect. And whereas through her leadership and professionalism, Ms. Dutton has helped ensure the fair, transparent, and secure operation of elections, strengthening public confidence in the electoral process. And whereas the success of our elections depends on the commitment of experienced and trusted individuals like Ms. Dutton, who consistently upheld the highest standards even during long hours and high-pressure moments. Whereas Ms. Dutton's steady presence, deep knowledge, and commitment to doing things the right way have set a standard of excellence within her precinct and among her peers. And whereas I, Vice Mayor Nickerson, recognizes Ms. Dutton for this honor, had the privilege of serving alongside her as an election officer for several years and witnessed firsthand her integrity, leadership, and unwavering commitment to ensuring that every election is conducted with fairness and respect. And whereas Ms. Dutton not only served, but has also mentored and guided others, strengthening the overall integrity and effectiveness of the election process in our community. Whereas her decades of service reflect a profound commitment to civic duty and deep belief in protecting and preserving our democracy. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the town of Dumfries, the Town Council of Dumfries, Virginia, do hereby recognize and honor Ms. Connie Dutton for her extraordinary service as an election officer and express our sincere gratitude for her invaluable contributions to our community and to the integrity of our democratic process. Be it further proclaimed that we call upon all residents to join us in recognizing and celebrating Ms. Dutton's remarkable legacy of service, integrity, and commitment to democracy. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the town of Dumfries be affixed this 5th day of May 2026. Signed by order of the Dumfries Town Council by the Mayor. Derek Wood. Come on up. Here, you take this one.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Use some of my oils. All right. Usually I like working behind the scenes, so took some of my thunder there. I want to say good evening to the mayor and vice mayor and town council and everyone in here. I'm honored to be recognized for this. I can't believe it's been almost 30 years doing this, and I only started when I was 2, so we're good. And like I said, like Vice Mayor said, we worked together before, so it's an honor to be able to work let you know behind the scenes of what are the things that we do as an election officer, and it can get a little crazy at times. So I do appreciate this very much, and you really don't realize how much positive influence you have on someone until you get recognized, because you do a lot of things behind the scenes, and there are long hours, and the voters can be really pleasant, or they could not be very, very pleasant. So I just wanted to say I'm honored and humbled to be recognized by Vice Mayor and everybody. But thanks again, and everyone. I told you it's going to be short and sweet, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Next on our agenda is a proclamation for Economic Development Week. Whereas economic development is a strategic investment in our community that helps create high-quality jobs, attract new business, support the growth of existing industries, and generate the revenues that sustain essential services such as education, transportation, housing, and healthcare. Economic development efforts support competitive communities by encouraging innovation, expanding workforce opportunities, strengthening infrastructure, and promoting inclusive economic growth for all residents. From July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2024, Virginia recorded more than 900 company announcements, over 85,000 new jobs, and nearly $170 billion in capital investment, demonstrating the powerful impact of economic development initiatives throughout the Commonwealth. Whereas in the town of Dumfries between 2021 and 2025, business license revenue, which is based partly on the number of business, grew annually from $513,917 to $749,593. And sales and use tax revenue based on the business also grew annually from $553,167 to $661,504, in part due to economic development efforts. In 2026, the town celebrated the ribbon cutting to mark the openings of several businesses in the town: First Care Women's, Treasure Hair Elegance, and Boutique Blessings Beauty Empire, and the Vista Advocacy Group. And whereas economic development professionals across Virginia and in the town of Dumfries work every day with business, educational institutions, government leaders, and community partners to strengthen local economies, create opportunities, and to ensure vibrant communities for current and future generations. Economic Development Week provides an opportunity to recognize the vital role economic development professionals play as connectors and collaborators, bringing together residents, elected officials, business leaders, educators, and regional partners to build stronger economies and expand opportunities across Virginia. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Town Council of Dumfries hereby proclaim May 4th through 8th, 2026 is Economic Development Week, and we encourage the residents, business, community partners to recognize and celebrate the contributions of economic development professionals who work to expand opportunities, strengthen our economy, and build a prosperous future for all. Signed, May 5th, by order of the Town Council, Mayor Derek R. Wood. Mr. Tabor.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Whereas for more than 60 years, the U.S. Small Business Administration has celebrated National Small Business Week, which acknowledges the critical contributions of Americans, entrepreneurs, and small business owners. National Business Week 2026 will take place May 3rd through 9th. The SBA will officially recognize their hard work, ingenuity, and dedication, including their contributions to the economy. Small Business Month is commemorated annually by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and builds off of Small Business Week, celebrated each year by the U.S. Small Business Administration. Small businesses are the backbone of the United States economy, as there are more than 31 million small businesses in the United States who employ and support the livelihoods of millions of Americans. Currently, there are more than 181 licensed small businesses located in the town of Dumfries. During the month of May 2026, Dumfries will host a business appreciation celebration for local small businesses, and town residents are encouraged to continue to support our small businesses in the town of Dumfries. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Town Council of Dumfries, Virginia, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Small Business Month in the town of Dumfries. Signed, May 5th, 2026, by order of the council, Mayor Derek R. Wood.
Sir.
I think we could use the last picture.
1, 2.
Okay. Final one is mental health awareness. I know the lady had an emergency. She wanted to push it. Should I read it anyway? We'll just wait till next week. Okay, all right. We'll put this one off. Very well. Yeah. Next on the agenda then is the approval of the minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we approve the minutes for this evening.
Second.
Okay. It's been motioned and second. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Okay. Madam Clerk, please call for the question.
Councilmember Fields,
Yes.
Councilman Pete,
Yes.
Councilman Young,
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson. Aye. Chair Pro Tem Miles.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion's passed. Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda is citizen comment time. Was there any citizens signed up to speak?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. We'll move right into the mayor and council comments. Okay. Councilman Young, did you have any comments tonight?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just want to make everyone aware as we were going to present the Mental Health Awareness Month proclamation, just to have everyone, just as Councilman Pete would oftentimes say, please check on your neighbors, check on those who are, just check on your neighbors, and just understand that during this month, some people do suffer from PTSD, and PTSD is not just subject to those of the military. It's anyone who may have suffered from a post-traumatic stress disorder. And it doesn't necessarily have to come from the military or from police officers or from first responders. It could be anyone who had a traumatic experience in their life and then they're still suffering with it. So please, whatever you do, check on your neighbors. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Peterson?
I just want to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there this weekend, and I yield.
Okay. Councilman Pete?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to piggyback off of my two colleagues there on the PTSD, and because it's something that you should definitely not only checking on your neighbors, because that's one of my knockout the parks, but it's definitely checking on your family members as well, because it actually most times starts in house. You know, I have my little flares and flashes of my PTSD. I'm not severe or anything like that, but understanding that it can be affecting the house as well as rolling over into work and even into the community. So like Councilman Young said, check on your neighbors, and I'm gonna add on as well as your family and your household members. Then also piggybacking off the my other colleague, on Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to everyone. Even though we having Mother's Day this weekend coming up, we ain't got flowers for all y'all, but all mothers are great for us and the backbone of a lot of us strong men that are out here. And they say beside every good man is a strong woman, and most of them are mothers. So if you have the chance, as well as we check on our neighbors, say happy Mother's Day to your neighbors and your family members as well. Moving on from that, just real quick, I want to thank the PD for looking into our parks around within the community. I have visually myself been checking out the parks, and I have seen the increase in the presence of our police department at our parks, and our parks are looking better now. We got a way to go, but we're looking better now. Then I also want to address these 234 situation here. Bear with us, y'all. It's a constructional move that happened. Not is going to happen. It happened. It's here. And as we adapt to the adjustments, I just ask that it's here. I just ask that we all be patient as we're moving forward. I was unaware of the acknowledgement of us movement not being able to make that left from 234 north, from Route 1 north on to 234. I was clear on the 234 not being able to make the left on Route 1 going north, coming past the BP, McDonald's, and Taco Bell, but it's where we at. I did have concerns on that. I don't know how we address that, town manager. I did see PD out there today, and being that they do have don't make a left on the northbound side, but there are, if that's going to be a part of the widening, I'm not for sure. If we can provide some clarity on that, but there's a turning lane that's still there, which most of our citizens that are in the norm of making that left turn at the BP gas station to 234 to get on 95 or go up 234, we're still in the routine of that practice. So, just something to look into to see if we can either eliminate that turning lane or something along the borders there, right there. Outside of that, guys, drink water. It's getting hot on us. Mr. Mayor, with that, I yield.
Councilman Fields.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming out. Wow, we got a busy month ahead of us. A lot of my colleagues have talked about a lot that I want to say anyway. In recognition of mental healthness and Ms. Dutton, thanks for being here and all the hard work you've done. My motorcycle community, I'm bummed because I couldn't ride because I blew my knee out this weekend. And I also want to revisit one thing, or just visit it, period. Last month we had tragedy. And I'm just going to say this. Say her name. Serena Wanzer Fairfax. Say her name. Remember her and her children. Got to keep sending prayers and have awareness to domestic violence. It's horrible. But when we see it, when we hear about it, if you see something, say something. It's not time to just mind your business. It is your business when it comes to domestic violence. That's all I have to say.
Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to echo my colleague's sentiment. Want to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. Want to also say congratulations to all our graduates. We will have some college graduations rolling in, and then in June we'll see our high school graduates. So I'm proud of y'all and looking forward to everything that you contribute in the future. Special shout out to Georgetown's class of 2026, and looking forward to y'all joining this workforce. And with that, I'll yield.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. So I want to recognize Public Service Recognition Week. Again, just mentioning it to our staff. Thank you all for the work that you do every day behind the scenes to keep this town functioning. You epitomize the magic behind the curtain that I so often refer to you as. Without the work that you put in, we would not run as smoothly as we do. So I just want to acknowledge you all, especially during this week, for the hard work that you all do, and let you know that you are the magic behind the curtain, and the work that you put in truly makes a difference to our community. So thank you. And to my colleagues, I want to thank you all as well for your continued service and commitment to this community. It takes all of us working together to make Dumfries move forward. So thank you all for your time and commitment as well. I also want to remind everyone that my 5th annual expungement clinic is coming up the end of this month. The clinic is scheduled for May 30th. However, the last day to pre-register is May 11th. You cannot participate in the clinic on the 30th if you do not pre-register. So the clock is ticking. So if you or someone you know have charges in Prince William County that could potentially be expunged, please take a look at the services that we are offering, because they are life-changing services. And that's why we do it, so that we can keep the community prospering and moving forward. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I too want to take a moment to acknowledge first all the accomplishments last month and what we accomplished and the work ahead, and continue to invite our community to stay engaged. April was another one of those strong months we saw. We saw our community show up through events, through different partnerships, service. It's been a lot of continued progress. For those who missed it, this council last meeting approved a full aquatics and the indoor pool recreation center and the framework for our waterfront, which were a major progress. We had moments like the Easter egg roll and other civic engagement and regional conversations that happen, and the steady work happening behind the scenes reminds us that this transformation doesn't happen in one big moment, but it happens through the consistent steps, committed people, and the shared beliefs of where we're going. Echo the sentiments of our Public Service Week. I want to also thank our town manager, Mrs. Tangela Ennis, all of our town staff, our clerk, Nakisha Lucas and her assistant, and our town attorney, and everyone who continues to help to move our town forward. The public often sees the event, they see the meeting, they see the announcement, but behind that there's planning, there's preparation, there is coordination, and there is follow through. And that's the quiet work that makes progress possible. And that progress matters because Dumfries is in a very important season. We are continuing the work of building a well-managed government, preparing for a thriving Main Street, and advancing the vision for our waterfront, strengthening our infrastructure, supporting small business, and making sure our growth benefits the people who call the town of Dumfries home. As we move into May, you heard a lot of announcements, and we recognize several important moments. This week and today in particular is National Teacher Day, and this is National Teacher Appreciation Week. To every teacher, to every educator, to every counselor, administrator, the bus drivers, the cafeteria workers, the school support staff, we thank you. You help shape the future every single day with those young minds. As you heard, this Sunday is Mother's Day, and I want to wish a joyful and love-filled Mother's Day to every mother, grandmother, auntie, godmother, bonus mom, and those mother figures in the room. We honor you, and we thank you, and we celebrate you. Special shout out to my mom's birthday, May 12th. It's not on Mother's Day this year, so I'm off the hook. I got to do two things. May is also, as you heard, Mental Health Awareness Month. A strong town is not just measured by roads, buildings, parks, or revenue. We're measured by the well-being of our people. So this month, we also, as already was echoed, we encourage everyone to check on somebody. Not just to check on somebody, but to put on your own oxygen mask first. Take care of yourself. Remember that asking for help is not weakness, it's wisdom. Later this month, we observe Memorial Day. As a veteran, Memorial Day is deeply personal to me. It's not one of just a long weekend that we take off and we have cookouts and all of that, but it's a sacred moment to remember the men and women who gave their lives in service for this country. We honor them by living with service, with integrity, and with gratitude. And this month, for those who don't know, May 11th, 1749, Dumfries was chartered. So it marks our 277 years since our charter. That's not a number. It's a reminder that this town has some real roots. Not roots, but roots. Before new investment, new plans, and new opportunities, there was already a story here. And our job up here is to just honor that history while we build the future. We invite you all to come out also to the State of the Town address on Thursday, May 28th at 7 p.m. It'll be at the Potomac Valley Church. So we want to invite the residents to continue to let your voices be heard and be a part of the work ahead. Continue to attend our meetings, continue to read the agendas, continue to ask the questions, continue to download the app, serve on the boards and the commissions, support your local events, and share your ideas. Because the future of Dumfries should not be something that happens around the people. It should be something that happens with the people. So tonight's food for thought, is the tree doesn't grow because of one branch. It grows because the roots are strengthened. And the branches are what people see, the projects, the events, the grants, the development. But the roots are made possible with good government, fiscal responsibility, community trust, planning, partnerships, and the people who keep showing up. So as we move through May, let's celebrate what we accomplished, stay focused on the work ahead, and continue building Dumfries together with purpose, with pride, and with momentum. Thank you. With that said, our first presentation of the night.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I may.
Mr. Pete.
Town manager, I forgot to include this into my comments as well. Last month, I spoke of the EB Drive infrastructure over there, moving with speaking with Prince William County on it. We can get an update with Prince William County on that in maybe let's say June, July window. That'll be okay. Thank you much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I yield on that.
Okay, we'll have a presentation of the proposed commercial development with a grocery store by Director of Planning and Community Economic Development, Mr. Reginald Tabor. Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Chair Pro Tem, and members of council. Tonight, I'd like to share some information about a proposed commercial development with a grocery in the town of Dumfries. So the town of Dumfries has received applications for rezoning and conditional use permits for the development of a new commercial center with a grocery store. The location is 17439 Old Stagecoach Road, and the proposal includes a modern upscale grocery store with inline retail, a drive-through pharmacy, and off-premise beer and wine sales. This shows the location of the proposed development. The blue star is the location, and it's just south of the Route 234 Potomac Shores Parkway. And this is an initial layout of the proposed development. You can see on the left that the boundaries actually include a portion of what is now Old Stagecoach Road. And in the near future, we will be coming to council related to that portion of the property. This is an elevation, a front elevation of the proposed development. And this is a rendering as well. And this is from this is from the corner of Route 1 and Potomac Shores Parkway, or Route 234. And this is the rear eastern side of the property. So the approvals that will be required will be released from VDOT of Old Stagecoach Road right-of-way to the town of Dumfries at no cost, and then right-of-way vacation, then rezoning and a zoning plan, and then the conditional use permits for the drive-through and off-premise beer and wine sales. The applicant and developer will also submit for a master sign plan approval. And so the next steps will be a resolution formally requesting the release from VDOT of the Old Stagecoach Road right-of-way to the town of Dumfries at no cost to the town. Review and recommendation regarding the rezoning application, Planning Commission public hearing and recommendation regarding the rezoning and CUP applications, and Town Council public hearing and consideration of the rezoning and CUP applications. Thank you, and I'm happy to respond to any questions.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Mr. Pete.
Thank you, Mr. Tabor, for the presentation. Excellent. Just real quick, is there a name for this grocery store?
Currently, no, it has not been released.
Okay, got you. All right, and then secondly, I see on here that there's the entrance exit is right there off of the parkway. Is that the only in and out there?
No, actually, there is also an entrance and exit proposed for Old Stagecoach Road.
That's great. We'll get that update later.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you. With that, Mr. Mayor, I yield.
Councilman Fields.
No more will be what we say a food desert. This is great. Keep up the good work on this, and we're looking forward for the future plans.
Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Tabor, and thank you again for all your hard work and everything that you've done for the town. I know we went over the next steps, but do you have like a more concrete timeline, like when we can expect to see it before the planning commission and when we can expect to see it before us for final decision?
Yes, we anticipate bringing the item to the Planning Commission during their June meeting and back to council during one of your June meetings as well, or your second June meeting.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. So Old Stagecoach Road is currently cul-de-sac.
Yes.
So if this opens out to Old Stagecoach Road, would it remain cul-de-sac? Because right now, the entrance and exit to Old Stagecoach Road from Route 1 is a very dangerous corner. And if there is a grocery store, center, what have you there, which I am thrilled about the idea of it, the part that I throw caution at is the amount of traffic that would now be trying to get into that small opening onto Stagecoach Road from Route 1, and then those that would be exiting from there if they were going southbound, especially because that left turn is very dangerous. And the right turn has its own problems as well because it's such a sharp turn that you have to turn into both of the northbound lanes in order to make a right turn. So if this is something that we will move forward with, I want to make sure that we are giving it special, that we're giving special consideration to the traffic pattern of Old Stagecoach Road. And is that a part of, your purview and what you're looking at as you're evaluating this and whether or not it fits in with what we're trying to do? We want to eliminate the food desert here. It's something that we've been talking about from this dais since I've sat on this dais. I just want to make sure that we are looking at the big picture because safety is paramount. And what we're stuck with on Old Stagecoach Road is it's limiting. So
There are, I think, a couple of responses to your question. One is, fortunately, with the Route 1 widening project, the intersection of Route 1 and Old Stagecoach Road will be reconfigured, and there will be a more of a 90-degree connection as opposed to kind of the angled connection to make it a more safer intersection. And indeed, Old Stagecoach will be, as Councilman Pete asked, an exit and entrance into the new shopping center from the south. There will also be potential improvements to, I've forgotten the name of the roadway, but just north of Stagecoach Plaza. There's a small roadway that intersects with Old Stagecoach Road. There may be some enhancements to that roadway to allow access on that roadway as well. So not only would there be from Old Stagecoach Road and the primary access along Potomac Shores Parkway, but then also that smaller connection as well to try to alleviate some of the traffic that will, be used, that will build to access the shopping center.
if I could follow up, please, with the widening of Route 1 and extending the curve radius for that corner, I get that. But the mouth of that road is still very narrow. So widening and extending that curve, what does that do for the widening of the road on that end of Old Stagecoach Road? Because that's where it's very narrow. There are no shoulders there. And, often it's, you have to give for a car to get by. Two cars cannot pass at the same time safely without practically hanging over the edge of the shoulder. So are we also looking at widening that part of the road there? And then my next question is the road that you mentioned as that little road in between the shopping center, that's not public road, or am I mistaken? Because I thought when we talked about Old Stagecoach being cul-de-sac, that was something that was talked about, and that is not publicly maintained road, which is why it's like full of craters.
My understanding is that it is public right-of-way, but we'll double check and of course make sure. And I also wanted to mention that as part of the development process, a traffic impact analysis was also completed, and we will review that as we review the development proposal as well.
Well, I have confidence in your diligence, sir.
you.
So
Thank
thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.
Councilman Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Tabor, quick question. I see to the left-hand side of the diagram, there's retail space.
Yes.
But also in the other diagram, there's 3 stores.
Yes.
That's a go with that whole entire design?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You spoke once already, right? Okay. Thank you for this tonight is just a presentation. Are you just looking for what our feedback or our concerns? I'm excited, first of all, about the opportunity to be able to bring as you say, a modern, upscale grocery store with the incline retail, drive-through pharmacy, and off-premises beer and wine sales. So I'm excited about that. One of the things, as I kind of mirror you and put on my planner hat a little bit, as I'm concerned about our future connectivity and our growth as we look at, one of the biggest things that we talk about all throughout the comp plan is connectivity. Like, how are we going to connect from one side to the other side? The questions that have been brought up about Old Stagecoach Road and between Coach House Plaza and the gas station, and who owns that and who doesn't own it. We'll look at that. My other concern is, I guess I'm old enough on the council to remember when Summer Duck was going to come out and conduct over there. And in this, there's a whole stormwater pond, and it cul-de-sacs and just blocks that whole community. So 2 weeks ago, we approved a framework for a waterfront district, right? So now, we know right now, if a truck turns over, God forbid, on Possum Point, there is no other access point or no way for people to get out of Possum Point Road. We're talking about the coal ash has to eventually be removed, and that coal ash has to go into, I guess, a landfill. So you got a bunch of trucks that got to start coming down that road. So my question is, if we create this design, where else are we going to have access? Where else can we connect to get people out of Possum Point Road when we look at our transportation infrastructure? So, that's my concern with the design now, because now we cul-de-sac. We build this big waterfront district, and now you got one light in and one light out. So where else are we going to build for people to get out? And so I guess that's I would need us to consider that and look at that when we look at this design, when we go through the planning commission, when we go through that. It's because we got on every page on that comp plan connectivity. And so now we come here and there's no connectivity. So I'm kind of concerned about that. So I'm just going to bring that up, and I will leave that there. Councilman Pete.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Tabor, 2 things here. Going back to what the Vice Mayor was saying about that Old Stagecoach Road and that it is narrow, right? So my take is this here. As we include these new businesses and new houses and start developing within the town of Dumfries, that we take in consideration, town manager, Mr. Tabor, all parties involved, that we take in consideration the parking, as well as we're speaking of it now into the communities, and we're developing on the outskirts more so of the outskirts of the town, that we take that in consideration. Now, and I was reference that to Old Stagecoach Road, as well as it being narrow, there is over parking from the businesses on that road as well. if we could look into that. Now, switching back, now turning pages over to what the mayor was speaking of the in and out. I remember speaking about this when Wawa came about and presented to us, and we was talking about that other backside over there where the on the back end of Wawa, and was to provide that entrance there. There's not a serviceable road right there at the time, but maybe we could look into that being an option for the serviceable road, because my take at that time was my vice mayor and our citizens dealing with the traffic coming out of Wawa, and you know, if they got to get to work and still have to deal with them, how does that look? You know, to combining those two together, if there's an option that way, you know, something that we can just look into moving forward, as well as we developing and planning and moving on improvements within the town, keeping our parking with all developers in consideration. With that, Mr. Mayor, I yield.
Thank you, sir, for the update, and we look forward to seeing this project advance, hopefully taking consideration of all of the commentary that you heard up here today.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is the Quantico Creek restoration. Yes, sir, the floor is yours.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to share the project and the update with you all. Mayor Woods, Vice Mayor Nickerson, and Council, appreciate being back. This is the second time that I've been here to talk about this project, so I do appreciate that. And I did notice some typos in this here, so I put this together fairly quickly, so I hope you'll all bear with me on that. It was the last slide there, so I'll mention that. But the Quantico Creek Restoration Project, this is the phase 2 restoration of, and so we did a earlier phase of this. This was in 2019, 2020 was when the construction of the first phase came about. We can go to the next slide here. Is there a way for me to, oh, there is. All right, fantastic. I should know this now too. I'm sorry, my name is Kip Mumma. I'm the principal engineer for Ecosystem Services. I should introduce myself, my apologies. So we'll just kind of go over the phase 2 kind of overview here, the work completed to date, and then the next steps. And what I hope that folks can take from this is just how this fits into the larger Quantico Creek restoration project, some about its history and the first phase as well. And then where we are in the process currently, kind of why the schedule is developed the way it is, and then what the next steps are for the project. And so the area that we're talking about here is shown on the screen, and on the downstream or the right of the slide is Main Street there. And so we're approximately 925, 950 feet of Quantico Creek. And this is continuing from the phase 1 project, which was just upstream of this, approximately starting at the I-95 bridge and then moving downstream to where we see the start of the project here. Quantico Creek is a 27 square mile drainage area, so a lot of forested area, and some of the urban portion of the town drains to the creek here. This just shows the kind of erosion conditions, so the stream banks and the erosion that's occurring. And part of the motivation to do this project was to prevent some of the pollutants that are associated with that erosion from moving downstream, both impacting the water quality of Quantico Creek and the larger Chesapeake Bay. What we're intending to establish with this restoration project is a more non-erosive stream bank conditions, in addition to conditions that are going to accommodate the widest possible array of native species, and in particular, the anadromous fish, the river herring that some of you all may know, use this area as habitat and kind of corridor that move through during our spring and summer months. And so this just shows kind of a cross section of the channel, and it also shows some of the phase 1 improvements that were made, and in particular to channel depth, and making that a better corridor for aquatic organism passage upstream. This is a picture of the phase 1, and we're trying to continue this effort downstream. And so associated with the work are native plantings. I do have some numbers here of native plantings. So approximately 3,200 what we call live stakes, essentially shrubs that are being planted on the stream bank. We also have 3,200 herbaceous plugs that are going to be planted along the stream bank. And then we have over 500 trees that are going to be planted in this area. So along the stream, we're trying to plant all native species, ones that would be accommodate kind of the wet air, more wetted perimeter of the stream banks, and will provide some habitat for birds and other organisms as well. And then to be able to maintain the kind of integrity of the stream, we're adding these areas of kind of faster water and slower water, these riffles and pools, and providing grade control. And what I mean by that is, of course, we want to make sure that the efforts that we're doing here are not going to continue to degrade after we get larger storm events. And so what we do is we place larger wood structures or rock structures in the stream bed itself and extend that across the stream corridor. And that helps resist those more high velocity flows that might come in from larger storm events, and it resists that down cutting, and that helps preserve kind of the conditions of the stream that we're creating in there. And that will help preserve that base flow depth for aquatic organism passage long term. And this just shows kind of the corridor again, what we're talking about and some of the proposed conditions, and I won't bore you with the graphs here, but just to show that some due diligence being done through the hydraulic modeling that we conducted as part of the project, and what we expect to take place once the project is completed. And again, this shows some of the plantings, and I imagine this will be part of the record of the council meeting, and if folks have questions about specific plantings that are going to be installed in the project, happy to answer that. Again, this is just a picture of the phase 1 project, and just showing that pre-restoration on the left-hand side. So you can see the exposed soil on the stream bank, and again, those pollutants, the sediment, and other pollutants that wash downstream when we get a larger storm event, washing those sediments into Quantico Creek. And then on the right-hand side, the more vegetated condition that we're trying to establish to the benefit of water quality. How we're connecting this to phase 1. Phase 1 was about 800 linear feet of restoration, and there are some of the numbers in terms of the pollutant reductions that the town is able to take credit for reducing down the downstream or improving the downstream conditions. And then on top of that, the improved fish passage and habitat that's being produced there. And then phase 2 continues that work with 975 linear feet of restoration. This also does include approximately 200 feet of outfalls. So these are the smaller tributaries and stormwater outfalls that connect to Quantico Creek. So what have we completed to date? Well, the project has just kind of started in terms of its implementation phase. We have done the design, the permitting, and the town has completed the easement acquisition as part of this project, the stakeout to identify kind of the areas that will be restored, and then the tree clearing most specifically. And so if folks have seen this area, what there is to notice on the ground is the tree clearing. As part of this project, we need to be able to access the channel. In addition, there are numerous locations where the mature trees in the area were falling into the channel. And so the tree clearing took place. It does require that we do this outside of the time of year restrictions for the northern long-eared bat, and that is a permit condition of the project. And so that is why the tree clearing is taking place the spring at the time that it has, because that time of year restriction is May 1st through November 15th for this project. And these are just some of the pictures. I tend to liken restoration projects to kind of surgery. So of course, the patient doesn't always look the best during surgery. The first part of this, of course, is the tree clearing, which it is as you see here, the removal of some of the trees on the stream bank to be able to access and reshape the channel. The next steps as part of this project are the in-stream construction. And so for that, we have this other time of year restriction, as I mentioned, associated with the anadromous fish that utilize Quantico Creek. And so this extends to June 30th. And so we're restricted from doing work in the channel until June 30th. And so the stream construction would start then. We would do a survey to document the conditions that have been implemented. That's our as-built survey. There's going to be invasive control. This is invasive species, nuisance species, ones that could, in other words, impact the habitats that are being created in this corridor. And that is part of the funding requirements as well for the project. And then native plantings that would continue essentially this late or this early fall all the way until early next year. And the timing for the plantings are based off of when that installation has the best chance to succeed. And so here is a kind of a abbreviated schedule showing those dates, and here's where my typos began. I thought we were still stuck in 2025 for some reason, so apologies to all, but changed that to 2026 and 2027 for the last couple lines there. But mobilization would occur on June 15th. Again, no in-stream work would occur until after that June 30th. And so what we have there is grading and in-stream work in Quantico Creek would occur July 8th. We had planned to be done with that construction September 9th. And then the first round of planting, because we want to make sure that we're starting with that repair and getting vegetation on the corridor, September 15th, and these would be the herbaceous plantings. Then there would be some invasive removal, September 21st, and then planting of those bare root trees and shrubs would start occurring October 15th. And then we would wait until later in what we call the dormant season to plant the live stakes. Again, those branches, they look like branches anyway that are placed on the stream bank, and then also we'd wait until January 4th. Sorry, and February 12th is when the contractor has identified that all the plantings would be complete, and there would be kind of a walkthrough from project stakeholders. So went through that very quickly there, but wanted to, in the interest of everybody's time, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. Councilman Fields.
Yes, great presentation, and we definitely have noticed, I've been in this town almost 20 years, and upon coming on the police department back then, that road would always flood. Residents over in Prince William Estates would always complain about their basements flooding and losing property, losing erosion to their backyards back there. So definitely notice over the years, I actually would go out there and I remember the water used to be this high. It used to be all the way up here. It's not as bad, or it takes a lot of rain for even to get way up on the street anymore. So appreciate the progress. The downstream debris is minimal now. It's easier to clean up. I definitely noticed that. We're just looking forward to it continuing on out so we don't have, Mother Nature's Mother Nature, we get that. But what we're doing is something that when I first came on council 10 years ago was a big thing. And we got the funding for it, and it got you guys in here to start working on it, and we definitely appreciate the progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you again, sir, for coming out and giving us an update on the progress. Quick question: with the grinding of the trees, will the trees be grinding or be grounded down, or would it be removed?
It'll be a combination. We are using some of the root structures as part of the work that's going to be done in the stream. And so in those instances, the roots may be pulled out at that time. And in other areas, they'll remain kind of flush cut to the ground if there isn't land disturbance in that location, that specific location.
Right, because I'm thinking if you were to remove it, wouldn't that mess with the integrity of the land that's previously there for someone's backyard?
It's a great question. So in a lot of cases, we're actually removing portions of the stream bank and grading it to a less steep slope. In some cases, we're actually, to help preserve some of the land from the residents adjacent to the project, we're actually building, it's a smaller wall. We call this an imbricated wall, where that will actually be the stream bank in a section of the corridor. So we're doing a combination of removing land and grading it to a less steep slope in some areas. And that actually helps also in terms of providing more volume internal to the stream corridor for those larger floods and so forth. And so in those cases, removing the stumps is actually part of the grading that will occur, the earth moving. And in areas where that earth moving is not going to be done, it's unlikely that we would remove the stumps in those locations.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Pete.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Did I hear you say 500 trees?
That we're going to be replanting in that.
Oh, okay. You were replanting. I thought you was adding on. You just replanting the ones that are existing there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. They will be planted as part of this project. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And just to say, those are oftentimes, or in the most cases, that's bare root species. And so it's not assumed that all of them will live. So you plant more, assuming that there will be some mortality, maybe even some deer or what have you might get a hold of some of those. So it'll be a fewer number of trees that actually mature through that corridor, but we want to replant.
The ones that die, they fall into the creek. What are we doing here?
Well, a lot of them won't even make it past a couple years, so that tends to be the case. So there'll be smaller trees, and so they won't necessarily pose a risk to clogging the stream corridor or any downstream conditions.
Sounds good. Now, with this on page 2 here, right? With you was speaking of this long-eared bat,
Yes.
right? And it was saying that there was restrictions. There were maybe I'm reading this wrong. Tree clearing, northern long-eared bat time of year restrictions for tree clearing from May 1st through November 15th.
Correct.
Is that stopping work progress right during that time frame?
Yes. So that's why we're not starting with the that's why we had to do the tree clearing prior to that time of year restriction. So ideally for projects, you would like to remove trees and continue with the construction project. So you don't have a period of time where no work is being done on the site, just so everything's done at once. But because of the time of year restrictions, we're not allowed to remove the trees closer to the time when the in-stream work can be done, since we have another time of year restriction. So this is essentially the way in which these projects have to navigate these different permit requirements. And they are to make sure that we're not impacting the habitat of some of these threatened and endangered species.
Okay, sounds good. One more thing here. With, you were speaking of, because this kind of ties into my previous conversation. You were speaking of boulders being put into the stream flow to slow down the heavy stream flow when it occurs. I'll raise a little concern there, right? Because as we move into EB Drive, that stream is connected to that creek. And that stream with the boulders in that creek are already backing up before it gets to the stream. Now, my take is if they're pushing and already being backed up, with you guys adding in additional boulders, how does that look for our residents if it loads up? If it's too congested on the Quantico stream side in the residence area that's before that, how does that work? Or not to even answer that question, if you can get with our town manager and hash this out, I think that would probably be the proper way to address this.
Sure. I'll just mention that we did do a flood study. And so part of the regulatory process is to make sure that we're not exacerbating any existing flooding conditions. And we're looking specifically at those larger events. And so what we have to do is we do have to meet the same flooding conditions that exist currently or reduce them potentially. Most restoration projects, this one included, don't necessarily reduce those larger events from occurring through the corridor, but we do have to meet and make sure that we're not raising the elevation of those flood waters through the project. So
Okay,
that was part of this.
Yeah, sounds good, because I'm on the back end trying to see if we can get the water to flow down and out to the Potomac, and then I'm hearing boulders. But again, if you can get with our town manager, I believe this would be the best approach to address this. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
With regard to the native planting, are these we have a lot more wildlife in the area now because of all the construction that's going on around us in the peripheral of the town of Dumfries. So as far as the native planting is concerned, is that plants that draws in these animals or that helps to sustain them?
We're not planting for, say, specific deer populations or anything. Even some of the plants that we're planting are ones that they wouldn't necessarily like. And so we're not trying to plant for that purposes. We are trying to make sure that the plants that we're putting in are native to this area, so they would benefit some of the local species. A lot of times what we're looking at are more your pollinator species, bird species, et cetera. And so we're not trying to encourage any specific terrestrial species, at least.
Okay. I wasn't necessarily looking for encouragement of them because I know that they aren't protected.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I also, I think about the fact that they're practically moving into my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't have a problem with them, but at the same time, I just have, concerns about where are they going, because I feel like the more I see in the neighborhood, then in turn, the more we'll see on the roads being hit by cars and causing traffic mishaps. Mm-hmm. So just kind of wondering if they have what they need in and around the creek, then it would keep them out of the neighborhoods and therefore off of the streets.
Mm-hmm. One thing we do try and do with these projects, because the current conditions are that it's a almost vertical bank down to the stream, and so by making a more gradual transition from your upland area and where the residents are down to the creek, it provides kind of a corridor also for those species. And so I wouldn't be able to speak to, the movements of species necessarily, but they would be accommodated more, within that corridor than they are currently. In other words, on the stream banks and even a bench that will be created throughout this project, there would be area for them to potentially walk or move through that rather than up higher on the stream banks in people's yards.
Well, thank you. And it helps when we can see the progress that's being made. So thank you all for the work that you've done.
All right. I think you cleared up my timeline question, but if you could, I just want to go back to a little bit phase one. Can you tell us why this project got initiated? Like what caused the kickoff for this whole project?
Yeah.
Were these state mandates or did we initiate the project?
There were state mandates as part of what's called an MS4 permit. And so this is the obligation that the town has to address water quality as part of the Chesapeake Bay, what's called TMDL, or total maximum daily load. Essentially, that's the pollutants that are going into the bay, generated from the town area. And so this project was essentially not this specific project, but projects that do this type of effort to reduce pollutants needed to be done as part of a permit requirement. And that also availed the town of grant funding opportunities, which then we're taking advantage of for both the phase 1 and phase 2 restoration projects. And I believe there are other projects, other water quality projects that the town has completed to address those permit requirements.
So initially, the state mandated this be done, but they didn't give us no money to do it. And then we went out and we got grant money to do it. Okay, I just wanted to, because I wanted to back up to phase 1 to phase 2 to bring everybody up to speed to how we got here and where we're at. And then tell us what the end of this project looks like. So how do we know when this project is complete? Like, how do we know when phase 2 is complete and we're ready to do phase 3? And then do we have a total cost to complete these state mandates to finish this part of the project?
I wouldn't have knowledge of the last part of your question in terms of the
Total funding cost?
The total funding for the entirety, since we were just contracted to do these specific projects. So I do know that as part of the management of the permit, that would be a question that probably Public Works or others in the town would be able to answer. The project is complete once those plantings are installed. That then would close out this portion of the project. Phase 1 had already been closed out. There is a monitoring requirement as part of the permit, the federal permit that was attained, permit coverage was attained for this project. And so there would be a monitoring period as well. And then reporting through your MS4 TMDL action plan would continue there from that point forward. And I believe that's on a 5-year cycle to report that the project is still functioning as intended.
Okay, so then let me change my funding question. How much did this phase cost?
I believe the total number is $1.3 million.
1.3 million for phase 2. Okay. All right. All right. That works for me. And then so we're looking at estimate about February 12th, phase 2 to be completed. And somebody else will have to tell me what phase 3 looks like, not you. That's his essence. Okay, got it. No more questions for you then. Councilman Pete.
Last one for you. You said the word bench. They will have a bench to. What is that?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I should have defined that. So we call this a floodplain bench, and so it's just an area of kind of low slope that's adjacent to the stream, and so it's just an area that is flatter than the rest of the stream bank. So a floodplain bench.
Okay, thank you for that, because when our citizens are listening, I want them to understand
Absolutely.
exactly what you're saying. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you, sir, for taking the time to come and update us. I saw the trees getting cut down. I know everybody was trying to get their trees down, these developers, before nesting season happens, not only for the long-eared bats, people forget the eagles and the other birds that are out there nesting. So thank you. Batestown Road does look clear. Your map still says Mine Road, by the way.
It did, yes.
Yeah, just want to tell you that
early
it's
survey.
now Batestown Road. So, but thank you for that presentation. With that, there are no more questions for you. So we'll move on to our next presentation.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is the most anticipated one of the day that we just added to the agenda. And it opened up today. Just so happened as we were begging to get a presentation, they opened up on the same day. So we'll be hearing about the Route 1 234 intersection improvements, the Phase 1 quadrant loop, which opened today. I wish we had the video diagram, but we invite whoever's going to give this presentation to come on up and get the presentation. Thanks, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. and residents. And yes, that's right. Today was a pretty big day for this traffic improvement. It's been about 8 o'clock. It's been about 15 hours since we opened it up. I know you all know it hasn't been super pretty. You can't expect it to all go perfectly smooth. The first few hours you open it up, it's going to take some time for people to adjust to the new pattern. It's a big change, but you're just going to have to trust that it will improve traffic. Once people adjust to the new pattern, it'll be more efficient and there will be less accidents overall. It is a proven design to be safer and more efficient than a left turn intersection. So with that, some of the details on the opening, we did commission the Dumfries Police to help us oversee and help to control some of the traffic. A lot of people still want to take left turns. We've got electronic billboards at every approach, at least two or three as you are approaching the intersection that inform you there's no left turns. And the permanent signage also shows that, yet, some people just can't resist but to try and turn left.
Sorry, what does it mean that you commission? Help me understand.
So we're paying your
Please
officers.
be clear.
I want to make it clear that it's not your tax money that's paying for that. We're paying, the developer's paying them. Sorry, I'll be more clear. So we did determine after, we had initially expected that we would need police coverage from about 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. After what we saw this morning, we decided to put them on there 24/7. So the police will be out there 24/7 for at least the rest of this week and possibly in the next week as well. And we're going to have a second officer during rush hour period. So there'll be two guys out there. Also, mapping apps were notified in advance. There's the Waze and the Google Maps and so forth. They were all notified of this change, and most of them were working correctly. We did discover one of those was not. About midday today, and I think that was also causing some trouble, but that should be corrected now. VDOT has been monitoring the traffic flow, and we're monitoring the traffic flow, and there will be some revisions to timing and signage and things like that to make sure that it really works right. It's the first day, so there are some slight imperfections, I suppose. And in terms of, there is still more striping work remaining to do, which is going to be done tonight. So tomorrow, and I think that left turn lane you mentioned hadn't been marked yet. We couldn't get all the marking done in one night, but all the marking will be done by tomorrow morning. And yeah, like I said, it should just take, another week or two for people to adjust, and we'll see some improvement. The new flow pattern, I know I've gone over this, but it's been a couple of years since the last time I addressed you guys. So I'm going to go through it again, just in case anyone's unclear on it. Eastbound Route 234 to northbound Route 1, you stay in the two left lanes, which now go straight only. So you do not turn left. You proceed straight through the intersection, and then you follow the loop to your left as you go around the loop, and then turn right on Route 1 heading north when you get to the end of the loop. So either southbound Route 1 or eastbound 234, the right turns remain the same, no change there. northbound Route 1 to westbound Route 234. You move to the right lane as you approach the intersection, but don't turn right until you go through the intersection, and then follow the exit around to the right. You'll follow the loop around to the right and go straight through the intersection to westbound 234. Okay, didn't want to change. Phase 2, so the next phase of this project will be the widening of Route 234 on the west side of Route 1. So we can't actually start that work until VDOT approves our next MOT plan. So each phase that we do in this project, they require another MOT plan to be reviewed by them and approved. And that MOT plan, maintenance of traffic is what the MOT stands for. So that maintenance of traffic plan was submitted to them a couple months ago, and we're pushing to get that approved so we can start widening on Route 234. So that'll add some lanes going in the westbound direction, and then it'll turn the lanes which are running along the south side of Dumfries Road will become a service road to those businesses. At the same time, I'm sure you've noticed we are working on the parkway that will ultimately connect Potomac Shores to the Route 1, to the Loop Road. The first segment is the west segment shown on the left. That will be complete by the end of this year, weather permitting. If not, then early next year. And then the east segment of that will be completed by the end of 2027. I think the battery's going dead. Is that my? Oh, that's my last slide.
Can you also introduce yourself for the public? Because I don't.
My apologies. I'm Andy Wagner. I work for the developer, Harbor Station Communities, the developer of Potomac Shores. We are doing these road improvements as a proffer condition to the county. So,
what year? What year did you proffer this?
The last proffer, us as a developer, we proffered it in 2000, I want to say 13. I believe it was 2012 or 13. The prior developer, which was Kettler, who I also had worked for on this project, had proffered it when they were the developer, and the whole community was called Harbor Station. They proffered it back in 2005. So the improvement itself has been on the comp plan since, I believe, the 90s. And so the actual geometry of that quadrant intersection was determined a long time ago. We just kind of got, tasked.
So this project just didn't happen this year?
We didn't just come up with this.
2005, 2013. So this project has been on the book for years. I just wanted to make sure we established that this isn't something that the town of Dumfries did. I just wanted to make sure that the other thing, if you can just share, why was there notice that this was going to open up in December and it's now opening up in May? There is people who were asking every single day for the last 60 days, when is this going to open? Why did y'all tell us this was going to open during this time? So I give you an opportunity to share that. I didn't answer that question.
My apologies for any confusion with that, but we were ready to open the road in January, right around the holidays, and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but VDOT wouldn't let us, basically because of a few, what I would call, minutia, some minor details. There was some things that they felt weren't quite right in terms of they wanted some of the striping adjusted. They didn't like that there was guy wires for 2 utility poles were just on the roadside of the guardrail, which is set back like 30 feet from the road. So it's doesn't seem like a problem, especially since we see that condition all up and down Route 1, but they weren't going to let us open until we resolved those issues. And then they required several re-inspections and added additional measures, additional barrels, the orange barrels. They wanted more barrels. They wanted more signage. The electronic billboards, we had to add several of those and that sort of thing. So it was just sort of, every time we had an inspection, we got more things added to the punch list.
Now, most important thing for the public, is this a public project or is this a private project? Like, whose project is this?
Okay.
Is this a county, a Dumfries project funded? Like, who is I know you proffered it, but
Yeah.
just explain where this project come from.
Yeah,
'cause
it's a
I think
little
this is
murky, right? So it's a public improvement, but privately funded. Okay, but the funding actually comes from municipal bonds that are ultimately paid back by the homeowners in Potomac Shores.
All right, Chair Pro Tem, and then we'll come down to Councilman P. We'll open it up for questions now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. It's good to see you again. I do have a couple questions, and obviously, I'm very pleased to see that there's going to be some plans put in place to equate for safety. I mean, we can't make an omelet without cracking a few eggs, but you don't want the egg crack to end up in your pan. So we want to make sure that we account for that.
Yeah.
So I know you said that you're commissioning the police to stay out for at least the end of the week, possibly next week. I would wonder, would there be a possibility to stay longer than that? It takes about 21 days to form a habit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So just to clarify, what I was saying is that we're going to have them 24/7, at least until next week. But and then we'll probably cut back on the hours and keep them out there another week or two.
okay,
And we'll play it by ear. I mean, if it's still really bad, we'll keep them out 24/7 if necessary. We're just trying to, see how it goes.
Okay, so I would imagine you're going to stay in close communication with the town staff to determine how our residents are coping, how our commuters are coping.
Yeah, it's a joint effort. Oh, yeah, it's a joint effort. So I'm, every couple times a day talking to the folks at VDOT. And, I suggested that we extend the police longer hours, and then they turned around and said, no, you're going to do it 24/7. So I said, sure, okay. I mean, at the end of the day, I can make suggestions, but it's VDOT tells me what I'm going to do.
Okay, and that
So
leads to my second question. I was going to ask, I know there's plenty of signage out there, but because it's new, is there a potential for additional signage to like warn people as they come up? I know when I was coming down to 34, I was assigned by like the McDonald's. But
Yeah,
it was kind of small. You really didn't make it out. I was wondering, is it possible to get more?
are you talking about electronic billboards or
Yeah,
the permanent
yes,
signage?
yes.
So we have at least two as you're approaching each intersection. And again, that's something that VDOT is controlling. Even if I wanted to add more, I'd have to go to VDOT and get their permission
Okay.
to add more.
Okay.
But I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Go ahead.
On that, got it. So VDOT, I mean, you can make the recommendation. How fast are they at getting back to you to determine what the ultimate resolution will be?
It varies, but right now it's same day usually. I will say what I was going to say, which will, I think, help. Another change that was agreed upon today is to, the green lights right now are just round green lights, like typical green lights, all the lights are. We are switching those literally right now to arrows, so there'll be green arrows pointing straight.
Okay.
So I think that'll help too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then not to put the cart before the horse, but what have we learned for phase 2? So that when phase 2 comes, how are there anything that we're going to take from
So, what phase two is mostly a widening, and we're not changing the traffic pattern at all, other than, we'll be having a service road, but it's not like this is a really significant change in traffic pattern and in the flow of traffic, whereas the next phase really is not.
All right, well, thank you. I'll yield.
Sure.
Councilman Pete.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Real quick, thank you, Pro Tem, for clearing up one of my questions, and that was with the duration of the police department. I'll skip over that real quick. So when you were mentioning the 234 widening,
Yes, sir.
you had made a statement of a MOT plan.
Correct.
Can you explain MOT for our citizens, please?
Yeah, the MOT stands for maintenance of traffic. So on that plan, it shows basically, what we're going to do within the roadway. So if we're going to close a lane, it'll show the lane closure. If we're going to add a lane, it shows the new lane. It'll show the markings, the arrows. It'll show any signage, temporary or permanent signage, things like that.
Sounds good. So you guys will be waiting on the MOT plan from VDOT to move forward with the 234 widening.
Yeah, the next phase of the MOT.
Right, just making sure our citizens are staying upput and engaged on what we're doing around here.
Yeah.
My second thing was with the construction burials that you guys have along the roadway. Can we get some adjustments going on? Because when we're riding, there's sometimes one or two sticking out in the lane and it has you to bow up to the other lane.
Yeah, it'll be an ongoing, because people can kind of knock them around or whatever, but
2-1 coming off of 234.
yeah, it'll be an ongoing effort to keep them in line. Yeah, we'll keep.
Do any of them have that yellow cautious
like the
light
flashing
that's up
lights?
top?
No,
more so at the conjunction of the 234 intersection right there?
No, they don't. They don't do that, and I don't know if we'd be allowed to do those or not.
I'm just looking at some
So,
safety measures
again,
that could
it's-
help. I mean, that's y'all lane. I just want to throw it out there to make sure that we do look into some of these concerns that we're being asked as we bring them to you.
Yeah, I just don't see those anymore. But,
Okay.
that's an interesting question. I don't know if they did away with them or what.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you much. I yield.
Councilman Fields.
I'm going to ask your help on this one, Mayor, but you and I were the only two on council back then when this first came up, I believe, correct?
No, he brought it in 2013 the first time.
But,
think you
well,
can- yeah.
my first time hearing it was maybe 2016. It came in maybe again in 2018. And this 100% benefits Potomac Shores, correct?
No, it's not true. It benefits everybody in this area.
But it affects Dumfries 100%.
It affects everybody who drives up and down Route 1.
What I'm getting to is the extension of Potomac Shores Parkway. This would eventually flow into the parkway to benefit 100% of those residents back there. Right now, it's affecting us a little bit, right at 100%. So 10% of the project is only in the town of Dumfries, and the rest of the project, 90% of it is outside of the town of Dumfries. So that's why I'm looking at the benefits and the pros and the cons of that.
I mean, I would go back to point out that this improvement isn't something that we would choose to do. It's something that we were required to do.
I understand.
And it's been on the comp plan since the 90s. And the intersection improvement does make traffic ultimately, once people get adjusted, will be more efficient flowing through that intersection.
I get it. I get it's difficult to explain.
Okay.
And like the mayor started off with at first, where did this come from? How is it benefiting the total traffic flow? It will benefit totally Potomac Shores. It will eventually benefit the town traffic once the new pattern is learned.
Right.
Like Chair Pro Tem said, it takes 21 days to learn a habit, correct? And a driving habit. I know people hate to hear me say this because I refer to it quite often, but far as safety, and when I was on the police department here, I would park right on that corner and get several red light violations, several. This will hopefully eliminate those type of long red light, running a red light. You could look at the light, turn your head, 2, 3, 4 cars are still coming through that busy intersection after the light turns red. So this definitely will benefit on the traffic. I want to throw the pros and the cons out there.
Yeah.
But definitely benefit traffic incidents, traffic accidents, and hopefully a well-learned behavior, which will also benefit the previous presentation we had of that shopping area going over there with the grocery store. It'll be an easier traffic flow for everything to work out like it's supposed to, even down to Old Stagecoach Road. It will benefit this being there for entrance and egress for that. So it has a plus positive, but we just got to be patient, folks, and see it through. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the comments. I'll also add that if we hadn't if we hadn't done this road improvement, there'd still be 3,000 junk cars sitting on that property. And, and also the grocery store would not, even if we bought that property and got rid of the cars, they're requiring that road be built before they even close on that property because it's their main access in and out.
Yes, just to thank you. Great benefits all the way around.
Yeah.
We just got to be patient.
Yep.
We just got to be patient.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
The way I tried to explain this project, VDOT has a great video on YouTube called the Quadrant Intersection. I think if we can get that up on our websites and so people can see how it flows and see why this actually improves the flow of traffic. There's a video on the Virginia Department of Transportation's YouTube channel that says Quadrant Intersection that actually shows how this flows, and it will show you that there's no left turns nowhere at that intersection. One of the biggest things I used to notice and observe is when you get off of 95, it takes you 5 to 6 rotations just to get through that light and make a left turn, right? And so eliminating that left turn, you don't get stuck at the McDonald's for 2 or 3 rotations because now you go straight and you have a longer a path to go.
Yep.
Right. Same thing in the evening. Used to get stuck way back here, almost to Williamstown Drive, sometimes just to Harold and Kathy to get up there to try to make a left turn. So most of the traffic congestions I saw, just me, came from the left turns in the evening time when people got off from work.
Yeah.
And so I understand the need and the necessity. It's just the frustration with the timeline, the frustration with the implementation and getting these things going, and just communication, right? I think we could do a better job as partners in this to communicate with one another and to be able to just know what's going on so that we can also keep the community and the public update. And so, yes, I see the diagram. You put it up even on the billboard showing the flow of traffic, but people still don't understand no left turns and what that means. Not many people are from Jersey that goes up to Jersey and see those jug handles. So he's the Jersey guy. So, this is a Jersey style turn, that no left turns. So if you drive in Jersey, they got these everywhere. So I just want to say with that, Vice Mayor.
You're right. It is going to take some patience and adjustment, and change is difficult for a lot of people after having been doing things, one way for a long time. It's difficult to make those adjustments, and I understand that. The concern that I have is when it comes to the service road, because that too is a northern cultural thing. So my concern with the service road is the service road being implemented will impact the businesses that are on 234. McDonald's, 7-Eleven, those are businesses of convenience. And what I mean by that is most people drop in to 7-Eleven or they drop into McDonald's because it's convenient. They're driving by, they see those arches, and then they hit the drive-through. Once we implement the service road, you will then have to be very intentional about whether or not you're going to McDonald's or 7-Eleven or Pizza Hut. And so my concern is the negative impact it'll have on those businesses over there. So my question is there any, is that done? Is that written in ink and it cannot be changed? And is that also what was a part of the original decision prior to this council getting here? And I ask that out loud and would like to have that answered out loud, because as we all sit here and we are promoting businesses and small businesses and growth and economic vitality in the town of Dumfries, what I also want to recognize is that those businesses are going to be impacted. And I'm not an economic developer, so I can't say how significantly or how severely, but the common sense that I was born with tells me that those businesses will be impacted, because you take away the convenience of dropping in when you have to be either on a service road or a thoroughway. And so if I want to go to 7-Eleven, if I happen to be in the Potomac Shores lane, oh, damn, I meant to grab something at 7-Eleven. I'm just going to do without it, because what I'm not going to do is go all the way down, across, around, back around, loop around, come. I'm not doing that. And so 7-Eleven just lost out on that money. And those money, the money that we earn from those businesses are a part of what helps sustain us in this locality, in this municipality. And it's important. And I just want folks to understand that these are the types of decisions that were made before we got here on this council. So what we are doing collectively is figuring out other ways to continue generating income, because we had no control over that. There's nothing we can do about it now. So we just got to keep pushing forward and hope that we can be intentional about going to McDonald's and 7-Eleven and Pizza Hut and the businesses that are on that will be on that service road.
Well, first, let me say that the access to McDonald's won't change. It'll be exactly the same as it is now. It'll be a service road to the other businesses to the east of McDonald's will be the change. But that was on the plans going back 30 years ago, to answer your question specifically. But I'll also say that even if that service road didn't get built, that it's getting harder and harder, like every day, to get in and out of those businesses because of the volume of traffic alone that's coming to that intersection. It's completely unsafe to try and cross across those lanes. And I know there's been many accidents there from people doing that. So whether the service road gets built or not, those businesses are going to have problems with access.
Is the service road going to be 2 lanes to be able to go make the right? Because do you have to make the right
Yes,
turn?
it'll be 2 lanes.
And you have to make a right turn from the
Sorry,
service lane?
that's the speakers over there. Someone in the audience said that.
So you'll be able to make. So will you have to get in the service lane to make a right, or will you be able to make a right around the service lane? I guess let me make sure.
You can go either way on the service road, but you can also
like on the service roads we see in DC.
You can exit through the BP as well. Like it ends in the BP parking lot. So if you were to go to the BP, you could then get out on 230 or Route 1.
Okay. Well, Andy, we appreciate you you coming.
My pleasure.
You know,
Yeah.
Lock us in your number so when we call, you see it's us calling.
Okay, will do. I have you locked in.
All
And
right.
Reggie as well. We've been staying in touch.
You know, we'll probably be talking some more in a couple months to get some updates on this project to see how things are going.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good one. Before we move to the next one, we're gonna take a 6-minute stretch break, bathroom break. Oh, what we got left? We had a couple things. Okay. Oh, y'all good? Everybody good? All right. Hey, we're gonna keep rocking and rolling. They say no stretch break. Let's keep it going. They ready to go. All right, next on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion.
All right, been motion and second to approve the consent agenda. Okay, looks good to me. All right, any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call for the question.
Councilman Fields.
Yes.
Councilman Pete.
Yes.
Councilman Young.
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson. Aye. Chair Pro Tem Miles. Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion's passed.
All right. Well, next on the agenda, we move to our public hearing. Public hearing to for our FY 2026-27 capital improvement plan. Madam Town Manager.
Good evening, Town Council. This is a public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 26-27 capital improvement plan. The CIP serves as the town's long-term planning document for major capital improvement projects, infrastructure improvements, and equipment acquisitions necessary to meet current and future public needs. The proposed plan includes approximately $22.4 million in capital investments supporting stormwater improvements, transportation infrastructure, public safety enhancement, parks and recreation projects, and community facility upgrades throughout the town. We are also asking that the town amend the ordinance this evening to remove the second chart currently referenced in Section 3 prior to the adoption of the ordinance. This hearing provides an opportunity for public input prior to council action, and we are available for any questions should you have some.
Okay, so say that again, what you want us, because that was a mouthful.
Yes.
Or what is it that you're asking us?
So on the ordinance, there are two charts in Section 3. The second chart was included by accident. So we're asking that that second chart be removed.
Was everything advertised together?
No, so it's just what was in the printed document,
So the only thing was advertised.
was that we're having a public hearing today. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All right, any, Councilman P?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that.
No, not yet. Okay. We'll now open the public hearing. Is there anyone signed up to speak at the public hearing?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. All right. Seeing that there is nobody signed up to speak at the public hearing, we will now close the public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. All right. Any further discussion, commentary? Councilman P? Okay. All right. No further discussion.
Okay.
Councilman P?
Mr. Mayor, what'd you say, Mr. Fields?
Just mess with you, man. You can proceed.
Don't mess with me, mess with you. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we approve the FY 26-27 capital improvement program with the removal of the second chart by ordinance.
Take second. All right, it's been motioned and second. Any further discussion on our CIP plan? All right. Seeing that there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk, call for the question.
Councilman Fields.
Yes.
Councilman Pete.
Absolutely.
Councilman Young.
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson. Aye. Chair Pro Tem Miles. Aye. Vice Mayor Nickerson.
Yes.
Mayor Wood.
Yes.
That motion's passed.
All right, we've exhausted the agenda, so at this time, we will adjourn this meeting.
Good job, team.